Here on the Hunt Report now with quarterback D'Angelo Fulford of the Hamburg Sea Devils of the European League of Football. D'Angelo, appreciate you taking time, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
The last time we talked, it was 2020. You were part of the 2020 draft class. You had just come off a fantastic week of work at the College Gridiron Showcase down in Texas. And then after that, a little thing called COVID-19 kind of hit, kind of blew everything out of proportion. But again, you were coming off a well-accomplished career at Mount Union, one of the best Division III programs out there in college football. Uh, Walk me through how 2020 was for you in terms of getting people to understand your game while everyone else is in transition, and how that kind of threw off your timeline from getting into an NFL camp right away and then making that move throughout the course of your career as you have now so in Europe.
So 2020 and kind of 2021, because most of the world hadn't caught back up yet. It was draft day happens. I get called in the seventh round, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, we're going to this team. Like, hey, it's a done deal. They call back a couple picks later, and they're like, hey, we traded this one away. Blah blah blah. Blah. We still want to bring you in the rookie minicamp. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, that's one team. Six other teams call right after the draft, and I kid you not even a day after, I think COVID slammed down harder, and now all these rookie minicamp invites go away completely because there isn't that, and there's no preseason. So now it's kind of like 2020 is a wash year. I know I'm still in shape. I'm working out, a house of athlete with those guys, doing my thing, and I get a CFL opportunity with BC. But again, this is 2021, so it's the CFL's first year back. There's no preseason, and so I don't know. I'm a quarterback that there's a lot more to my game than just being in the pocket, and you're not always able to show that in camp. And I don't make excuses, but working in the third string and second string with also trying to catch up with guys that have never played that before, and the CFL is a little tough. So, and not having the preseason games to really showcase my full ability, which, I mean, if you watch my tape, you can see, like, all right, I can extend the play with my feet. I can, make the little sidearm slot throws and stuff like that. But I feel like in a game situation is where I really throw out the most. And doesn't mean that I can't be the practice guy that you need me to be. But yeah, so didn't work out with BC Lions. Rest of 2021 kind of goes on. 2022 was the MLFB startup, and we all saw how that kind of ended up. And then 2023 was signed with Bay Area Panthers the year that they ended up winning it. And I was there for 3 weeks, got called up to the XFL with Vegas Vipers. I was there for the last 3 games of the season, and then Vegas Vipers gets chopped. So ended up going out to the ELF this year. Started off with Raiders T-Roll. For whatever reasons, they didn't work out. Ended up re-signing with the Hamburg Sea Devils, finished out the season there. And yeah, now I have new playing tape. I have a newfound respect and love for the game, for sure. And it's just cool to see how much football has grown. Like, it's not, there's little kids in Europe that aren't kicking soccer balls around now, they're throwing footballs. Like, it's crazy. So to be a part of something like that, and even though my journey's been a little crazier than most, it's a lot of fun, man.
Well, there's a lot to piece through in what you just said, which was laid out perfectly.
Sure.
Because when you think about your college career and then going to the College Gridiron Showcase, that alone kind of gave the scouts a glimpse of, hey, he can make the jump from Division III to the NFL based off how he's performing out here this week against Power 5 competition and so on and so forth. And then when you look at having to go from there to a different game completely, the CFL, it's crazy because a lot of people just think that it's the same game as the NFL. College football is not. It's a different game. And then working through that process, the XFL, and we know how that Vegas situation went down. But it has been a series of unfortunate events. So when I saw you out there at the ELF. I called one of your games this year against Cologne, and to see you get back to what I saw in 2020, how rewarding was it for you to finally just get out there and just play football without anything stopping you from doing so?
Uh, it was fun. Like I said, I mean, it was. I don't want to say there was like jitters because it hadn't actually played live in a minute, but because I've always been ready, and we all know football, like you're one play away, and it's like to know that all these years of just making sure I'm still doing the reps, still working out when no one's looking, like that type of thing, and to know that I can come out after 3 years of not having live action and still compete with the best of the best. I mean, well, best in Europe for sure, and know that I can hold my own still. And it's like, all right, a couple of these throws, I'm like, I still got it, you know. So there was a confidence boost there, but definitely just going back through the like the pregame rituals and stuff like that, like missed that the most. So it was very very rewarding, and yeah, because I'm an exercise science guy, so that's what I got my degree in. And so to know like all the workouts I've been doing, all the like I very limited injury wise, like didn't have anything crazy going on. So um yeah, man, it was very rewarding.
Now, and here's the interesting part about it because I've been trying to carry this flag for the ELF over here in the States for quite some time. And it's good that I don't not only got the chance to call some games this year, but also push more people toward the ELF. In your opinion, when people think about the European League of Football, how close is it to professional football here in the States? I know the NFL is the NFL, but where, how much better is the ELF than people may believe that haven't really taken the chance to watch a full game?
Um, I feel like this is kind of exactly how I feel being a D3 guy competing with the NFL, like the bigger Alabama type guys. And it's like if you take the best of the best from anywhere, they can compete anywhere.
Mhm.
And I mean, you might be limited size wise, and obviously experience is something you don't get until you need it the most. But there's some guys over there that can play. And I mean, yeah, I know if we put together, it's just like the Olympics. If we sent out a team full of 20-year-olds that play in the NFL, it would do some damage. But um, no, I definitely think that there's some guys over there that can play over here in the US or even the CFL for sure.
What's interesting about you as a quarterback, right? Because if we're having this conversation in 2020, I still feel like a lot of people are kind of hesitant on the 6 foot quarterback. But you look at the NFL now and you look at what's been thriving. There is no more height restrictions in terms of playing the position. And it's almost like you get penalized for being early as opposed to being on time. So had you come out in 2023, we're having a completely different conversation. Your career may be a little bit different in terms of the start of your career. So do you look at the pro game on this side of of the world in the States and say, man, not only can I translate, but I'm ready to step in right now and play because of me already playing pro ball over in Europe.
Yeah, and I mean, I think so. I'm always confident in myself, and I always bet on myself in that regard. But I mean, it just becomes a faster game, and I mean that just comes with reps and repetition. So it's like I think I can make that jump. Are you going to be able to throw me into the fire tomorrow? No, obviously, like I would need to work in with some guys and stuff, but I definitely think I can make that jump. And every time I've thrown, like I mean, I throw to nothing but NFL receivers down here. It's Miami, like it's not hard to find guys. Um, but knowing that I can do it now in pads as well, and it's not just like some for show thing. Like I show I can move in the pocket, and I mean these German dudes, they tall too. They like 6'6", 280 something. So yeah, like I think the smaller quarterback thing is not really a issue anymore. I mean, you go back, Baker, Kyler, you know, the list goes on. Bryce, like all the quarterbacks in the NFL now are around that 6 foot to 6'3" mark. Don't get me wrong, there's some guys that are 6'6" that can sling it, but I don't think that really has anything to do with the quarterback position now. So yeah, I definitely think I could make that jump though, and be competing somewhere.
And when you look at your game from 2020 to now, where have you personally seen the biggest growth within your game?
I would say the checking at the line. When I first came out of college, like obviously I had a pretty good understanding of what we were doing at Mount. But getting into other schemes and being with other coaches, and they're like, hey, when we're at the line and we're in this zone play, we're going to check the stretch and we're going to call it Ruby 80. So now I'm changing my entire color number sequence at the line and I'm checking the other way. Just having that better understanding, I guess, of the run game, because I did understand the pass game pretty well. Just finding those little intricacies, I guess, and focusing on I wouldn't say weak points, but stuff you don't normally focus on. That's where I saw the most growth at. Um, and then just, I guess, becoming a better teammate, because I had to understand how the European guys see football. And that was a different monster in itself. So, especially coming from Mount, where it's so like rigid and, yeah, there's growth on the personal side too. So, yeah.
Well, let's tap into that for a little bit because it's a great point. When you're coming from a program or a situation where you won consistently and winning is the standard, how hard is it for the winner to then get everybody around you to buy in that may not come from that culture of winning? Is that a difficult thing to, because you see that the pro level on this side as well, where guys won a lot in college and they come to the pros and they are with guys that may not have won a lot in college, and the team in the NFL or pro side of things may not have won as a pro. How hard is that to really get guys to see it your way in terms of buying into a winning culture?
I'm still figuring that out. If I had the perfect answer for it, it's just spending time with your teammates, knowing what makes them click. Um, some guys see football as a thing where they can make money. Other guys see it as something that they love and that they live and breathe. So you got to figure out which one it is for the guy, I think. And once you understand that, you understand how to push certain people on the field. Um, Not everybody you can bark at, not everybody you can coddle. So, uh, yeah, just finding that little balance and being the fluid teammate that can, I can give you the rah rah stuff, but I can also, give you a calm talk on the sideline, like whatever you need. Um, but I think that just comes with time and hanging out with guys. So I was on one team in Tirol for 6 weeks, but I was 4 weeks of training camp and 2 weeks of the actual season. Then I went home for 3 weeks. Then I'm with Hamburg for the last 6 weeks of their season. So could more stuff happen with more time? Absolutely, I think so. But yeah, it's just spending time with your teammates. That's the easiest way to learn them.
Well, listen, I thought you did a fantastic job considering the situation of coming
It
into
was a
Raiders
character
2.
rebuild for sure.
Right.
Character rebuild for sure.
Right, right. Because at the end of the day, man, like you came into a tough situation and start the season, one of the big signings. Then you get to jump into a situation in Hamburg that was kind of sketchy in terms of where they were at the point of the season. You stabled that ship and played some good football. So it's been good to see you handle both situations. I think that plays well a lot on the on the scout side of things. So I'm excited for you.
Hamburg was young. Like I don't really blame. Like the more you start asking around guys and you start talking to people, and you realize we're a young team with not a lot of experience. So can't fault guys for things that they don't know and they're seeing for the first time. But if they get all the right pieces back next year, they can really be something. I mean, the talent is there. It's just some things lacked in experience on all sides, mine included, of I guess how to approach guys and learn their way. So the last month I was there for 6 weeks. So the first 2 weeks we're just figuring out who's who, and
Mhm.
then from then on it was like, all right, cool. Like I know how to rock with my guys. So uh, I'm not gonna say look out, but if they can get some talent back and they can and keep the core, they'll be all right.
Now, last question I have for you is about the European League of Football. we've seen it grow every year, and this year I feel like was a highly competitive one. Um, how good is the ELF, and where do you think the potential of this league can be, not just next year, but let's say 5 years down the line?
I think they're doing the right thing with engaging people and engaging young crowds. And it's like, I don't know how, because again, this is my first year, so I don't want to like ruffle any feathers and stuff like that. But they are doing a great job with engagement. We had a game against Ryan Fire, my first game, 25,000 people. And it's like, all right, now we just got to make this a more competitive game by fixing things on our side. And it's, it's a go. So there is I guess, a divide right now where you can see like there's a top half of teams in a lower tier, but those top those top tier teams, it's not going to be too long before the talent starts trickling down and spreading around. So I think people just kind of need to be patient. And like we said, the game is growing and it's grown every year. More and more people are going to these games, and I think if they stick with it, it can potentially be another. I'm hoping it's like CFL, the LFA, and this league are all on the same level eventually, and then you have them all filtering into the U.S. So there's a lot of potential here if they can keep it financially right.
Would love to see a true world champion at some point in time.
Exactly.
Uh, instead of the state size claiming world champions. But D'Angelo, listen, it's been great to catch up with you, watch you play pro ball finally. Call a game. You toughed it out, man. That was a very physical game. I never seen a quarterback's jersey be that dirty before. But I'm glad you made it out on the other side, and we wish you the best luck moving forward, man. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.